Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer for this afternoon, Logan Landers, and joining me today to break down the 2024 USC Trojans team preview, as always, very talented writer over at FirstRoundMock.com, Mr. William Yanish III. How you doing this afternoon, man? Glad to have you on the show.
Oh, I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Excited to talk about these Trojans who had a really hot start last year, but then came just coming down to earth, man. It was a very roller coaster type of year in 2023 for USC, but that is all in the past now. It's a brand new team, and it's a lot to look forward to if you are a Trojan fan. But before we talk about it, guys, if you enjoy this episode, like, follow, share, and subscribe. You know the deal. Facebook and YouTube, main two platforms. But you can also go on all major podcast streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and listen to our show every single week. Just little sound bites and little audio clips from our show each and every single week. All right, William, I will give you the ball first, my friend. What do you think about USC coming into this 2024 season? As I mentioned, last year was it was something. It was interesting, we'll say. How does this team kind of bounce back and reload for 24?
Well, questioning it because you said about a whole new team, but it's the same management, the same coach, Lincoln Riley, and what they have done. They ended the season last year with 121st ranked defense, being 8-5, after having the Heisman winning quarterback from the previous season, and number one draft pick. And, I mean to get serious real quick, but I'm going to. I mean, what about this recruiting? I mean, why isn't their recruiting better? Or is, Lincoln Riley and, this team a victim of sports media needing, someone like Caleb Williams to be the number one pick, somebody to overhype and that ended up with the 8-5 overall record. A lot of people talk about, like I just said, the 121st ranked defense when it was all said and done. But, Austin Jones is gone. Brendan Rice is gone. And Brendan Rice going in round 7. I mean, that also has to factor into the question about USC and what is happening at that program. And with their move to the Big Ten, I mean, now they're considerably, have more talent, to face. And is Lincoln Riley ready for that? Miller Moss comes in. He's 6'2", a cheeseburger away from 200 pounds. The kid got some game. I mean, whatever happened in the bowl game last year. And also, according to, I get back to the recruiting, 24/7 Sports, they had the 20th ranked recruiting in the country, after having Caleb Williams and after having, I mean, all that and coming up with prospects like Zachariah Branch and some of these new guys coming in, Woody Marks, the running back from the transfer from Mississippi State, Brian Jackson, freshman running back coming in, and Miller Moss has already, said some pretty good things about the running back room, there. The problem is, like I said, is this team, going to have success, moving to the Big Ten with, national champion Michigan, even though that is a complete new team and new system and everything else, how is that going to work out? Are they going to be the bottom feeders of the Big Ten, or, are they going to rise up and actually try to compete with some of these other programs, the Penn States and the Ohio States and things like that? They're playing with the big boys now. I mean, this isn't the Pac-12 with little schools and little recruiting and all of that. And that is the one concern that I have for USC and what it is really going on there. So.
Yeah, I mean, well said. And when you look at this USC program, obviously we know last year, 10th in nation in terms of offense, and third in scoring. So we knew that the offense was there, with Caleb Williams and company. That's all gone now. It's the Miller Moss show, as you said. We'll see if how he can do, like you said, we've seen very short work from him. Impressive work, but very limited work, limited game film. We'll see how he does full season under center now for USC. But when I look at this schedule for USC, they've got a pretty tough go at it, man. They kick it off against LSU. That's going to be a tough game. You got Utah State. That should be an easy win. Should be, but anything with this team after last year, I'm a little bit hesitant, if I do say so myself. Then you got the big champs in Michigan, obviously, on the 21st, and in Ann Arbor, by the way. So that is going to be a packed house, and they are going to be excited to welcome the Trojans in. Wisconsin, like I said, that's going to be an interesting one. You never know how that team's going to look. You got guys like Penn State, who's going to have a good program. Washington as well. UCLA in the big rivalry game there. And in the season, man, they've got Notre Dame, who we never know how they're going to be. So it's not like this is a cakewalk. This isn't an easy win, go undefeated in type of season and just show out your first year in a brand new conference. I don't see that for this team as of yet. Like I said, it's all preview season, but I have not seen it from this team, man. And like you said, the main thing for me this year for USC is in how they do and how they perform is their defense. I mean, in defense, like you mentioned, 118th given up in scoring, 116th in total defense.
And Grinch being 5 last season too.
I'm about to say they couldn't get many stops. They weren't getting a lot of turnovers. It's just the talent was not there, right? The talent was not there really. Guys were hurt as well, but look, when you're giving up that many points, it's pretty much like your team's just not even trying. It felt like it sometimes, man. They were giving up points in bunches. It was hard to watch if you're a defensive fan. Like I said, on offense, you knew they were going to put points up on the board, but you also knew on defense they were going to give up just as many, if not more. And that's what happened with USC. They lost a lot of games last year because they just could not stop the ball in crucial moments. They were giving up turnovers. They were giving up big yard plays like it was nothing. So that is the big key for me this season for USC. You've got to get some defense back on there. You've got to get some takeaways as well. I mean, like I said, they just got to get it going. Look for Jamil Muhammad, the defensive end, the senior. Look for him to have a good year this year. He had 6.5 sacks last year, 10.5 tackles for loss. Like I said, so he was a guy who is someone to look out for on defense. Like you said, it's all going to be how are things going to go with Moss under center. How can Lincoln Riley just kind of retool, reconfigure that team, that program, and keep them a winning team, a winning tradition like we, for the most part, always see with USC. It'll be interesting, man. But we know that Lincoln Riley is one of those guys who, kind of like Harbaugh was last year. He's always got that microscope on him, looking for that one thing that they are all wanting to get, and that is a national championship. Lincoln Riley's been hyped up for many, many years, William. He has. And we'll see if he can bring a championship back to USC. It's been quite a while since they've taken home the number one spot, since they've been in the college football playoffs trying to vie for a national championship. So we will see what happens. But we are looking forward to it, though, and we will continue to see how USC does in this 2024 season. Well, of course, as always, Mr. William Yanish III, thanks so much, man, for coming on the show, chopping it up, talking about the USC Trojans. I've been your host and producer for this afternoon, Logan Landers. Guys, go out and read some magazines about the Trojans, go and watch some game film for players who come back this year. And until next time, we'll talk to you again on another